I love the episodes that we do on this podcast that are personal. Captain America 1990 might be one of the most personal movies of my life. It's also a movie that never got released. It never came out. And therein lies part of the lore of myself, of Peter A. DeLuca, AKAPAD, your film buff. A lot of what I do and who I am today is rooted in this movie. It's a story, it's a tale as long as time, as far as time. I think I botched that. Alright, aka Padders, let's go. We're talking Captain America.
Quiet on the set.
Camera speed.
Sound production, take one.
Action!
What is that Beauty and the Beast line? A tale as long as time? A tale as far as time? Guys, Captain America 1990. This is a part of... we're just doing a lot of Captain America stuff. I love it when there's a release or there's just something coming. Just something we can all look forward to. And I take that opportunity and I go forwards and backwards. I go as far as back as we can. So on this podcast, on the Film Buff podcast, your obsessive film freak, that's me. We're doing his first media appearances. We're going back to the serial. We're going back to the 1970 Spider-Man cartoon. Then we're doing Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. And then we're doing X-Men the Animated Series. And then now we're here. And hey, he's had 2 TV movies as well. Death Too Soon. Let me know if that sounds familiar. Captain America has been prevalent in culture for a long time. Now, has he been prominent? Not until the modern day. Isn't that crazy? This is a character that goes back to the 30s. And relatively talk, Chris Evans. Chris Evans, the Avengers movie. It was really the Avengers movie. That's what broke the ice for this character. So much so, when Chris Evans gave up the role of Captain America, they said, we have to continue this. The character itself, the mantle, is just too popular. And they had an opportunity. They pretty much set it up from Captain America Winter Soldier, but they said, we can let his buddy, the sidekick, take over. Which is never a good idea. We never want the sidekick to take over. We just don't. I mean, I know Bucky in the comic took over for Captain America for a short time too, until Bucky's arm got ripped off and he got beat with it. Welcome to comics. I believe that was I forget that storyline, but it like the name of the storyline. I very much clearly remember the comic. But yeah, that was shocking at the time. But yeah, Bucky took over for a little bit. But in a way, we don't look at Winter Soldier as Captain America's sidekick, which is one of the exceptions. But we never want Robin to take over. Nightwing, potentially, because I would say Nightwing's very similar to Winter Soldier, where we don't associate Nightwing as a sidekick, even though we know he was a former Robin. There's few exceptions to this, but Falcon always was second fiddle. He just was. So let's go back to the Eric Theater in New Jersey, across from the Lindenwold Speed Line. You can take the White Horse Pike. What is left of the Eric Theater got transformed into a really good Chinese buffet for a little bit in the mid-2000s. Locally, the Eric Theater Plaza is also known as the Bradley's Plaza, because there was a big Bradley's there at one time. Bradley's never returned. Now it's a giant like Goodwill. There's a really nice Goodwill there. But yeah, the plaza effectively died once Bradley's moved out. The Eric Theater survived for a little bit. Got transformed into a buffet. And we had some good nights at that buffet too. We would go see movies, bring alcohol into the movies, get wasted and pig out on food, and it was awesome. But during the heyday of this theater, and I don't know why it was chosen, why we ended up there. I never really spoke about that with my father, but he took me there to see Total Recall, Arnold Schwarzenegger, where I got a Woodrow Wilson for Sharon Stone during that movie. The whole thing, the whole joke that Sharon Stone makes about tying me up is still with me too. I mean, I watch that movie and I wait for that moment all the time. But I was blown away. Paul Verhoeven, God, this is one Verhoeven could not lose. We had Total Recall from him. We had RoboCop. Later, we will get Starship Troopers. We will get Basic Instinct, more Sharon Stone. This guy, and he really goes out. He's one of my absolute favorite directors of all time. But he had a knack of just hardcore science, just hardcore science fiction. It's just rough and gritty and dirty and sexual and violent. Perfect stuff. So we were leaving this movie. And we're right, the summer of Batman. Everything was Batman. Tim Burton, I love Michael Keaton. I love Jack Nicholson as the Joker. And for me, that was the film-going experience. Now, we were always a family. That saw movies. My father recorded a ton of movies on VHS when we were younger. He would draw on the labels. Like Life Force, if you guys remember that movie, which is amazing too, Toby Hopper. But he would design the labels. He would draw on the labels, and we would have them all lined up, and they were all orange. I believe they were Kodak. And we were maybe like the first family on the block to do that. Other families had VCRs, but we were really good with recording things off of TV. Those VHS tapes were with me for a long time. Which, we would have Aliens, we would have Excalibur, all of these visually stunning movies. I believe we tried to get The Godfather a few times, couldn't do it just because it was too freaking long. Because you would have to be there to switch over the tape. But it was really the summer of Batman that did it for me. It's just so impactful. I was young enough to fall into the hype of the movie, the anticipation, the curiosity. You would read stories. My grandmother would read me stories where he's going to kill a guy and he's going to be violent and all these things. A lot of this commentary, it's not really there right now because a lot of the people who give the commentary weren't there. They're wiki warriors, but that's fine. But I just remember there was almost like a fear in seeing that movie. So around that time we get Total Recall, and I see a poster in the lobby. That poster is the thumbnail of this episode, but it's Captain America 1990, and it's the shield, and it looks 3D, it looks real, it looks amazing. The logo glistens. It's rendered as if it came out of Heavy Metal magazine, airbrushed, shiny, beveling, nice hard edge. It was red, white, and blue in the center, and the edge was just like steel and metal, and it looked like a sword. And I saw it. 1990 comes and goes. Get Dick Tracy. I fall into the Dick Tracy hype too. Still one of my favorite movies. 91, 92. I have an issue of Comic Scene magazine. There's an article about this movie in Comic Scene magazine. I would always go to it. Always refer to this article. Wow, Red Skull looks amazing. Wow, Captain America is throwing the shield. Captain America is strapped. No joke, no exaggeration. No exaggeration. He's strapped on the side of a missile. Holy crap, are they going to do Bucky? Captain America lost Bucky. Is this when Captain America explodes above the ocean and freezes? Your young comic book mind goes so deep with just a couple images. But the movie never came out. It never came out. And then a couple of years go by, and I hear about a Fantastic Four movie. That movie, also in magazines, never comes out. The movie eventually was available on bootleg. I think USA Network eventually aired it, where then I did tape it. But then, it got a official DVD release. It got official VHS release. I bought those up immediately. I remember pre-order. I believe it was $39. I pre-ordered it from Suncoast. They called me. I went to pick it up because by that point, we were mall rats. We were New Jersey mall rats. And all my cool friends, and I would have to tell my cool friends, I have to go to Suncoast. And they're hoping we're shoplifting Penthouse VHSs or Playboy VHSs because they had a little bit of a porn/soft porn section. But no, I'm there to get Captain America. And now I have to explain it to them as I'm explaining this to you. I've been telling this story for a long time. It never came out. I eventually saw it. And when I had the opportunity, I bought the original movie poster. You can go back to some of my YouTubes when I had it framed. When I moved, I had to unframe it just because there's so many things sometimes you just want stuff to stay intact. So I bought hard tubes for the original poster. So the reason why I have the poster, and I should have it hung up. I don't have it hung up right now, but I had it for years in my production room for the reason of it being a reminder. Remind me to finish the work. Remind me to complete it. Remind me to release it. It can take a day. It can take a year. You can be 20 years past your deadline, but you have to release it. In a large way, everything you guys see, hear, if you catch me on the stream, if you see any of my drawings online, any of my artwork online, it's because I'm completing and I'm releasing. And that movie not coming out, it scarred me and it formed me. So when I talk about Captain America 1990 being intricate in the lore of Peter A. DeLuca, your film buff, it's 100% true. A movie that never came out, that I was promised would. To this day, if I could get that movie, release it in the movie theater, have that poster up, maybe for a month, and fill up one theater so we can all sit down and watch Captain America 1990, I would do it. Maybe I will. I think that's a wonderful idea. AKA Powders, I love getting personal with you guys. Captain America, rock and roll.
Okay, that's a wrap.